Okay, so learn one quick thing, and then the quiz is going to have all the material from the last week, prime, composite, factor trees, all the works from yesterday, plus this. So the very first day of school, we had a problem like this. Okay, so what number would go in the box?
7.
7. What's a way that you could figure out that it should be the 7 in the box? How do you do that?
5 minus 12.
Yeah, so if the problem is adding and there's a mystery number, you're going to subtract. If the problem were subtracting, you'd have to add. If it's dividing, you'd have to
Multiply.
You're always going to do the
Opposite.
So anything with these boxes, we do the opposites, we figure out the number. So if this is multiplying, you're going to have to divide. The magic missing number is 7. After today, you're never going to see the mystery box again. Okay, they're going to do away with that. Does anybody know what in math is going to take the place, and has already in your life to some degree, take the place of the mystery box?
X?
Yes, sometimes. Does it have to be an X?
Or it's just an X or a letter.
Could be any letter. Does anybody know what the name of those letters is? We have letters that can stand for mystery numbers.
Complete guess? Fill-ins?
That's going to be a V word.
Variables?
Variables is correct. So from now on, the mystery box is going to go away, and what you're going to see is some variables. X is probably the most common one, but you don't have to use the X. You could use a Y, you could use an A, you could use whatever you want to use. Whatever you want, you could do it. So, but it works the same way as the mystery box. You just do the opposite. So for this, I see add, so you'd have to.
Subtract.
Answer being,
Divide.
so the answer here would come out to be 12. Here I see subtract, so you're going to have to
Plus
add. That's going to get us
20. 40.
40. How can we check these answers?
So if you could check it, is you could minus it
Yeah.
by like that.
Just put it in. Put the 40 in where the variable was, and do 40 minus 10 and make sure it's 30. Because if you said 20 but you checked it, 20 minus 10 is, not happening. Here I see divide, so you'd have to,
Multiply.
and the magic number there, 72. This one's weird because I don't see anything. So does anybody know what is going on here, because I don't see a sign? It is multiply. Why did I not put a multiply sign?
You can just know.
Now, if I put a multiply sign, we have a little bit of a problem now.
You could think it's a variable.
We could think it's a variable. So now that the x is starting to be a variable, you're not always going to see the x as much anymore to mean multiply. You're still going to see that sometimes. But for a problem like this, it's important for you to know, if they put a letter next to a number, that means to multiply. They can't really put the x there because now it looks like you have 2 letters in a number, and that's just like a mess. Okay, so if you see a number next to a letter, you just have to know the book, the board, the teacher, whoever is trying to show you multiply, but your job is then to,
Multiply.
no, I'm trying to multiply, so your job's to divide, because you always do the
Opposite.
opposite. So if I'm add, you subtract. I subtract, you add. I divided, you multiply. But here, I'm multiply, so you've got to divide.
6.
And that comes out 6. Okay. There's other ways we can show multiply, but I'm not going to get into that today. But the X as a multiply symbol is on its way out. The box of mystery is absolutely on its way out. And some other stuff is more on its way in. But these letters are called variables. If you see a variable, it's just the mystery box. But like this time, x equaled 12. In some other problem, in some other book, does that mean that x is 12? No. X, every problem could take a different value in every book for every problem and everything. Sometimes I think people when they're young, they start to understand these variables have numbers that they're worth, but we're not trying to memorize what the numbers are. That would be silly. Just use the numbers. If x were always 12, that'd be kind of silly. This isn't like one of those fill-in books where you like decode and 27 means W or something. Like every problem I could do X, and in every problem X could be a new number in its world. But that's the lesson of the day, is understand variables took the place of the mystery box, but as we have been doing all year, you always do the opposite. You do the opposite and you'll be fine. So we can do a quick review on anything if you wanted. Again, what makes the quiz is going to be 4 of these variable problems, and if you want to practice it, we could look to a page in the book. There's a cluster of these in the book. We could practice it if you want. There's 6 questions about shapes. There's 5 questions about the polygons. There's 6 questions that have prime factorizations, which is just a fancy way of saying factor trees. And then there's 3 or 4 questions about prime or composite. What is this prime or is this composite? Kind of stuff. Does anybody need any reminders about prime, composite, prime factorizations, or shapes? Does anybody need to do any practice? There's a cluster of 8 problems if we want to practice to make sure you got it. I think it's 166 maybe. No, that's a lie. 155, it was a double letter. There's 8 of these on 155. If you want to practice it, we can, to make sure before we quiz it, or if you got it, you got it. You tell me, I don't know.
I'm good.
You good?
Gucci.
You good? You good? You good? You're good? We're good? Okay, so we all say we're good. So we'll shut down the record in a second. The project for tomorrow is the practice test worksheet, and that's it for today. Shut that down over there.